The galaxy had been quiet for almost 100 years. They called it the era of peace. For the first time in history, no species was at war. The great powers, the Sarathi Dominion, the Eula Coalition, the Varn, and the Terran Federation had signed one agreement known as the Galactic Pact. The pact promised unity, trade, and shared defense. But everyone knew the truth. Peace was not born from trust. It was born from fear. Fear of humanity. A century ago, the last galactic war had ended with human fleets standing over burning worlds. After that, humanity turned inward. They stopped speaking at the council. They stopped sending ambassadors. They built walls of silence around their systems and left the galaxy to govern itself. At first, the others celebrated. Without human oversight, they grew bold again. They claimed more territory. They fought small border skirmishes. They spoke of Earth as a fading legend, but deep down, everyone remembered what humans could do when they were provoked. In the heart of the council chamber, on the shining world of Avaris Prime, the alien leaders gathered for another day of debate. The Sarathi spoke first, tall, scaled, and proud. Human silence, he said, means weakness. They have isolated themselves too long. We should expand into their borders before they grow bold again. The hall echoed with agreement. Only one voice objected, an old Eula diplomat. "You speak like fools," she hissed. "You do not remember Earth's wrath." "I do," the Sarathi laughed. "Old stories, nothing more." The council voted. By the end of the session, the Pact's first rule, no fleets beyond the neutral zone, was quietly broken. At the edge of human space, a small planet called Eden Reach was home to scientists and engineers. It was not a military base, only a research colony studying new life forms. One morning, the colony's radar picked up a fleet approaching from the border. Not 1 or 2 ships, but 30. The Sarathi commander sent a message. "Unidentified Terran vessels. We are here under the authority of the Galactic Pact. You will submit to inspection." The humans did not answer. Minutes later, the Sarathi opened fire. The colony burned in silence. Hundreds of civilians died before the distress call reached Earth. When it did, humanity did not answer right away. The galaxy waited for days, expecting outrage, expecting a response. But Earth stayed quiet. The Sarathi celebrated their victory. They claimed the colony, erased its records, and renamed the world New Drathar. It was the mistake that would break the galaxy. Weeks later, strange reports began to spread. A Sarathi patrol vanished near the border. A Eula cargo convoy disappeared without distress signals. Entire stations went dark. The council tried to calm the panic. They said it was pirates. They said it was radiation storms. But the pattern was clear. Every disappearance happened near human space. Then came the message. It was broadcast on every frequency, across every language, in a voice that was calm and unmistakably human. "The pact is broken. The blood of Eden Reach is on your hands. You wanted to see what silence hides. Now you will." The message repeated 3 times, then vanished. The council met in emergency session. The hall was filled with shouting, fear, and denial. The Sarathi ambassador slammed his fist against the table. "If they want war, we will give them war." The Eula replied, "You already have." That night, the first retaliation came. The Sarathi outpost at Varnis Station, orbiting their homeworld, vanished in a flash of blue light. There was no explosion, no energy reading, no wreckage, just empty space. The scientists who studied the aftermath could not explain it. The space around the station bent like glass, as if something immense had passed through reality itself. The next morning, the Sarathi Emperor's palace received a transmission. It showed the human flag, a silver circle over a black field, and a single line of text. "Justice begins." The message deleted itself seconds later. Across the galaxy, fear spread like wildfire. Some called for surrender, others called for defense. But no one could find the humans. Their systems were closed, their fleets invisible, their silence louder than any weapon. The galaxy realized that humanity had not been rebuilding out of fear. They had been waiting. In the following days, the Council tried to contact Earth. Every attempt failed. Communication satellites melted from unknown energy surges. Probes vanished. Even the fastest ships turned back after strange readings, sensors showing phantom signatures, whispers across the comms, and flashes of blue light in the void. Rumors began. Some said humanity had discovered a new weapon. Others said they had allied with something beyond the stars. No one knew the truth. But in every world, one sentence was whispered again and again: the humans are awake. As the panic grew, the council gathered one last time to send an official message of peace. They begged humanity to stand down, to remember the pact, to return to the table. The humans never answered. Instead, in the dead of night, the sky above Avaris Prime turned white. Every satellite, every communication tower, every orbital defense grid gone in an instant. The world fell dark. The Council's final transmission was a single camera feed showing the horizon glowing red. Then silence. The next morning, across the galactic network, a message appeared in simple white text on a black screen. You broke the peace. Now the galaxy will remember why we made it, and then it ended. The pact was over. The era of peace was gone, and for the first time in a century, the galaxy trembled, not from war, but from the sound of humanity returning. The galaxy was falling apart. After the destruction of Eden Reach, nothing felt safe anymore. Trade routes closed. Worlds went silent. The Council claimed control, but everyone knew no one controlled anything now. The fragile peace had cracked, and through that crack, humanity's silence was crawling like a storm on the world of Avaris Prime. Chaos ruled the Council chamber. The alien delegates shouted across the Great Hall, their voices full of fear. "The humans are behind this," one cried. "They're ghosts," shouted another. "They can't even be found." The Sarathi representative slammed his scaled fist on the table. "We are the Pact! We cannot be ruled by their shadow." But deep down, every delegate knew the truth. The Pact was dead, and the shadow was growing. Across the stars, strange incidents multiplied. An entire Ular convoy drifted into port, empty. The crew had vanished, their personal devices still active, meals half-eaten. The ship's logs were corrupted, except for one file. It contained a single line of human code, repeating endlessly, "We asked for peace." No one could explain it. Then came the second blow. At the border world of Zerath 9, the Sarathi military began massing ships, preparing for retaliation. Before the fleet could launch, the sky opened. Blue light covered the horizon, brighter than any sun. The ground trembled. Every ship in orbit simply vanished. No explosion, no debris. Only a soft echo of thunder that lingered in the air like a whisper. When the light faded, a signal pulsed through every system on the planet. It was human. We wanted peace. You chose war. The message played 3 times, then the sky went dark. Back in the council chamber, panic spread faster than reason. Worlds began withdrawing from the pact. The Van Empire sealed its borders. The Ular demanded surrender talks. The Sarathi, furious and desperate, called for open war against Earth, but no one could find Earth. Every probe vanished before reaching Terran space. Every fleet that entered never came back. The galaxy realized it wasn't war. It was punishment. On a small mining colony near the Orion Rift, a worker named Kren was the first to see them. He was outside repairing a comm relay when the shadows appeared above the sky. He looked up and froze. There were hundreds of ships, massive black, shaped like daggers. They hung in silence, engines glowing with a cold blue light. He whispered to his radio, "We have visitors." The signal cut off. Hours later, the colony went silent. No distress calls, no survivors. But a nearby listening post caught a final transmission before everything vanished. "This is Terran Command. The pact is over." The Council tried to regroup. They declared a state of galactic emergency. Fleets from 20 species combined under one banner to defend the borders. They called it Operation Unity. It lasted 1 day. When the combined fleet reached the border of human space, their sensors failed. Their navigational data looped endlessly. Then one by one, the ships started disappearing, without fire, without sound. A single escape pod drifted back days later. Inside was a ULA pilot trembling, eyes wide, whispering the same phrase over and over. "They see us. They see everything." He died before anyone could question him. As fear turned to madness, the galaxy began to split. Old alliances crumbled. Some worlds turned their weapons inward. Others begged to join the humans, hoping for mercy. The humans gave none. Instead, they began transmitting images, scenes of the destruction they had endured. Cities burning, families killed, colonies erased by alien hands. The message was clear. You broke the pact. We will finish what you started. One by one, worlds began surrendering. But surrender didn't save them. On Velor, the Sarathi capital, the Emperor gave a public speech, demanding the humans show themselves. He raised his claws toward the camera, shouting, "We are not afraid of ghosts." The crowd cheered. Then the sun turned blue. Every system on the planet shut down. Cameras captured one last image, dozens of dark shapes falling from the sky, and then the feed went black. The Veloran Empire ceased to exist. From that day, the galaxy no longer denied what was happening. The humans had returned, and their wrath was not fire, it was silence. Entire fleets vanished without a trace. Planets awoke to find their skies filled with Terran warships that did not fire, did not speak, only hovered above as a warning. Those who tried to fight were erased. Those who surrendered were ignored, left to watch the sky in fear. In the quiet that followed, a rumor began spreading about a ship larger than any known vessel. The TSS Vengeance. It was said to be the flagship of the new Terran fleet. No one had seen it directly. But every time a system disappeared, every time a fleet went silent, faint energy readings appeared across the galaxy, all matching the same signature. Blue, cold, Terran. The galaxy now knew the truth. This was not war. This was judgment. The humans were not attacking for power. They were reminding the stars of something they had forgotten, what humanity becomes when pushed too far. And somewhere in the endless dark, deep within Terran command, the human admiral gave his final order. They wanted peace without respect. Now they will have silence with memory. The stars dimmed, and the galaxy trembled as the sound of human engines filled the void once more. The galaxy was breaking apart. Every world whispered the same truth. The humans were back. Their silence had ended, and their wrath had begun. But no one knew how far humanity's power now reached. The Terran fleets appeared without warning. No jump signatures, no warp traces. Just the sudden, blinding glow of blue energy and ships emerging from nowhere, black and smooth, as if carved from darkness itself. Across star systems, alien commanders screamed for their defenses to activate. Nothing worked. Shields flickered. Weapons refused to fire. Then came the sound. A low hum, deep and heavy, vibrating through space itself. Every alien officer who heard it would later describe the same thing. It was not noise. It was judgment. In the Varn system, the largest alien shipyard in the galaxy hung silent over its red sun. Thousands of ships stood in dry dock waiting for orders. The Varn believed they were safe. They were far from human borders, deep within Allied space, but safety was an illusion. Without warning, a shadow fell across the sun. The workers looked up confused, and then they saw it, a single human ship. It dwarfed everything around it. Its hull was covered in shifting blue lines of energy, as if lightning crawled beneath the surface. The station commander froze. "Is that the Terran flagship?" No one answered. The ship spoke first. "This is the Terran Federation. You attacked our people. You broke the pact. You have 1 minute to evacuate." The aliens panicked. There was no time. Exactly 60 seconds later, the shipyard vanished in a silent burst of light. No fire, no debris. Only the echo of that voice, still looping across the empty space. 1 minute! The footage spread everywhere, intercepted, shared, replayed. Billions watched in silence. Humanity had not just returned. They had evolved beyond anything the galaxy understood. Their ships could bend physics. Their weapons left no trace, and their commands carried no emotion, only certainty. Every empire that had mocked Earth now sent desperate messages to the Terran border, begging for peace. None were answered. In the shadows of the destroyed worlds, a new rumor began to spread. The humans had an AI fleet. Machines that fought without pilots. Machines that did not feel, did not stop, did not miss. They were called echo units. Silent weapons controlled from deep within the Terran core. Their only purpose, restore balance by erasing those who had betrayed it. Entire systems went dark under their watch. No war, no screams, just the hum of machines and the faint blue light that followed. On the last surviving world of the Sarathi Dominion, Emperor Thrin watched his cities burn. His palace windows glowed with the reflection of falling ships, his sky filled with Terran vessels descending like ghosts. He turned to his advisors, voice trembling. "What do they want from us? What do the humans want?" No one answered, because even now, after all the death, no one understood humanity's true goal. Then a figure appeared in the palace courtyard, not a soldier, not a robot. A single human. The guards froze, their weapons shaking. The man wore a simple black uniform, his eyes calm. He looked at the Emperor and spoke quietly. "You killed our people. You laughed at peace. You called us weak." The Emperor stepped back. We were wrong." The human nodded once. "Yes, you were." And then the palace windows shattered as the city dissolved into light. By now, the rest of the galaxy had stopped resisting. Planets sent their leaders to kneel before the border of human space, begging forgiveness that never came, because humanity had already moved beyond vengeance. Their fleets no longer targeted armies or empires. They targeted ideas, arrogance, oppression, cruelty. Every world that once built its glory on the suffering of others was now quiet. Every tyrant who had raised their flag above the weak was gone. Humanity was not conquering. They were cleansing. On the neutral world of Typhon Prime, a crowd gathered around an ancient screen. It flickered to life, showing the image of Earth, blue, calm, beautiful. For the first time in 100 years, humanity spoke to the galaxy as one. A woman appeared, her voice steady and cold. She was the Terran Chancellor. "We asked for peace. You turned it into a weapon. You thought silence meant surrender. Now you will learn what silence truly means." Her image vanished, replaced by the Terran symbol. A silver circle burning against black. Then, one by one, the stars on the galactic map began to dim, each representing a system that had just gone dark under human command. The crowd watched in horror as their galaxy shrank before their eyes. Within weeks, the war was over. But there was no celebration, no parades, no victory speeches. The humans did not claim territory. They did not rule. They simply left. Worlds that were destroyed remained empty. Worlds that had surrendered remained untouched. And in the silence that followed, a single truth echoed across the stars. Earth does not forgive. Earth remembers. From the shadows of the Terran flagship, Admiral Marcus Hale stood at the bridge, watching the stars fade one by one. He did not smile. He did not speak. He simply whispered, "Peace failed because they forgot respect." So we reminded them. Behind him, the ship's engines glowed brighter, lighting up the darkness like a sunrise. Humanity's wrath was complete, but their lesson would echo across the stars for eternity. The war ended in silence. No one knew when the last shot was fired or when the last ship fell. It was as if the galaxy simply stopped. The stars still burned, but they felt dimmer. Whole systems no longer sent messages. Entire empires were now ghosts, and through that silence, the echo of humanity lingered, soft, distant, and eternal. The surviving members of the Galactic Council met on what remained of Typhon Prime. The once bright city was now a ruin of glass and dust. Only half the delegates had survived the collapse of their worlds. No one dared to speak the word human. A Eula ambassador finally broke the silence. "We tried to build peace," she said. "We failed." A Sarathi general, his scales cracked and dull, whispered, "We built peace on arrogance." They reminded us what it costs. The chamber fell quiet again. Every eye turned to the central display, a map of the galaxy. Dozens of systems were marked in black. Those were the places where human fleets had appeared. Every black star meant the same thing. No signal, no survivors. Months passed. No one had seen a human ship since the last battle. No broadcasts, no threats, no transmissions, but they were there, unseen, unspoken. Every time a new world tried to rebuild its army, strange malfunctions occurred. Weapons refused to fire. Power grids failed. And then the same haunting message would appear on their main screen. Remember the pact. That was all. And then the system would go dark. On a distant frontier world, a young pilot named Kale sat beneath the night sky. He had been a child when the war began, too young to remember peace, but old enough to remember the fear. Now, as he stared at the stars, he wondered if the humans were still watching. His commander joined him, carrying 2 cups of bitter tea. "You still thinking about them?" the commander asked. Kyle nodded. "You think they're gone?" The commander sighed. "Humans don't vanish. They wait." Far above them, invisible against the night, a Terran recon drone drifted silently, its sensors active, its engines cold, watching, listening, waiting. In the ruins of the old Sarathi Empire, survivors built shrines to humanity. They called them the architects of balance. They believed humanity had been sent by the universe to destroy arrogance wherever it grew. Every year, they held a ceremony, lighting blue lanterns that rose into the sky, whispering the same prayer, "Forgive our pride." No human ever answered. Across the remaining trade routes, merchants began to tell stories. Some said they saw Terran ships again, just flashes of light crossing distant stars. Others swore they heard human voices on the radio, whispering coordinates that led nowhere. Most dismissed these as myths. But every time someone investigated, they never came back. The legends spread faster than light. The humans were rebuilding worlds beyond the known sectors. They had created cities hidden inside nebulae. They had formed a new empire that no one could see, but the truth was simpler. Humanity no longer needed to rule. They had already done what they came to do, teach the galaxy what peace without respect truly costs. A century later, the galaxy was quiet again. Trade had returned. The Council had rebuilt itself under a new name, the League of Worlds. Its first and only law was simple. No fleet shall ever cross Terran space. No one tested it. The silent expanse, once dark and deadly, was now surrounded by warning beacons that pulsed endlessly. Every beacon carried the same message, left there by humanity itself long ago. Enter not. We remember, ships that approached too closely vanished just as before. And every captain who stared too long into that border swore they could hear faint whispers through the static. Voices that sounded human, old and patient, on the edges of Terran space, deep within a crimson nebula. The human flagship TSS Vanguard floated among the stars. Its hull was dark, its lights dimmed, but its power pulsed strong as ever. Inside the command bridge, Admiral Marcus Hale stood before a vast window showing the galaxy's pale glow. Beside him stood his second-in-command, a young woman who had never known war. "It's quiet again," she said softly. Hale nodded. "It always is after the storm." She looked at him. "Do you think they learned?" He smiled faintly. "They learned to fear. That's a start." Then, after a moment of silence, his gaze turned colder. "Fear can keep peace for a time, but respect, that takes generations." He pressed a command on the console. Outside, dozens of Terran ships powered up, blue light flickering through the dark. They formed a silent line along the border, a wall of vigilance, not aggression. The galaxy would not see them again, but it would feel them, always. Years later, historians would call it the Echo War, but those who had lived through it called it something else. They called it the Reminder, because that was all humanity had left behind. Not empires, not colonies, not rule. Just the echo of their power, carved into the memory of every world. And whenever new generations looked up at the stars and wondered why some regions glowed faintly blue in the darkness, The elders would whisper, "That is where humanity sleeps. Do not wake them." In the end, no monument was ever built for the Terran Federation. They needed none. Their monument was the silence itself, a silence earned through fury and kept through strength. The last words ever recorded from a human transmission were found centuries later, drifting on an old satellite near the galactic rim. The message was brief, calm, and final. "We came for peace. You broke it, and we became your memory." The transmission ended, and the stars, one by one, faded into quiet again.